Hey everybody, welcome back to Live Between Paychecks Kitchen. It's me, Jack, the other host, and don't mind the brightness. I just got some new lights set up and I'm still working out the auto balance and everything on that. But anyway, today I'm bringing you something really quick, really simple, and it's probably something you've seen if you've been to a Mexican restaurant or two as like an appetizer. We're going to be doing some Rotel Cheese Dip. It's basically some melted down Velveeta with some hamburger and a can of Rotel in it. But anyway, let's get into it. Alright, we have 1 pound of ground round here, about 85%. We have what should be 1 pound of Velveeta. It could be a little bit more. And 1 can of hot Rotel. You can go with mild, but I just want it spicy, so I'm going with hot. And yeah, so let's get into it. So go ahead and get your skillet out, get it warmed up, and then we're going to throw your hamburger on. And we're going to shred it up a little bit until we have, nice fine taco meat, or what looks like taco meat. Okay, now once you have your ground beef into these smaller pieces, we're going to go ahead and cook it until it's browned, just like we would do it for taco meat, and then we're going to strain the grease off. Now it could take about 5 minutes, and be sure to sometimes come and stir it so it can cook evenly. Now to get the really smaller granular chunks, you might have to go through here and do some chopping motions, back and forth, and crisscross, because you don't want big chunks. It has been about 3.5 minutes. Most of the meat is cooked, but there's still some pink in there. I don't know if the camera can see it, but there's a little bit of pink right here, but most of it is cooked. But we're gonna go until it's all done, or at least until we don't see any more pink. Okay, so it's been about 5 minutes or close to. There's no more pink, at least there's none that's easily visible. So I'm gonna go ahead and strain the grease off. Also, if you're worried about your grease levels, if you only have a little bit, you don't need to strain it off. If you have a whole bunch, I recommend straining some off. But there's not a lot of grease here with the 85%, but I don't want all of this. So I'm going to strain a little bit off and keep what I can. Or keep a little bit. So I strained off about this much. It's not a whole lot. It's maybe a tablespoon worth. But I wanted to keep some. Okay, so next we want to season our meat. We're going to go ahead and put the heat to very low, just enough for the flame to be on. And we're going to start adding our seasonings. I got some chili powder I'm going to add. Next I got some ground cumin. I remember to get the cumin out. We're going to add some. We're also going to add some Southwest fajita. Yes, I realized midway through recording this specific spot I could just add all this stuff and then start after I'm done. And then we're going to add some garlic powder. Of course, you can use your favorite seasonings, different seasonings, whatever you want. This is just what I like to use or have on hand. Alright, now that I added everything, I'm going to go ahead and start mixing it now. Once you have your seasonings thoroughly mixed in with your meat, go ahead and kill the heat, and we're going to set this aside. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get a large saucepan, and we're going to add our ground beef into it while it's still warm. I'm going to do it off camera because this cast iron's kind of heavy. Okay, so once you're done adding your meat to your pot, go ahead and start adding in your cheese, and we're going to add in the Rotel afterwards. And then we're going to add in our can of Rotel. And we do need to periodically stir this as well. You don't want to burn your cheese. Your cheese will burn if you just let it sit against the metal without moving it. And I recommend doing this on a low heat, or if you want, you could try doing this with a double boiler as well. Now this will take a couple minutes. We're just going until the cheese has fully melted, which hopefully won't take too terribly long. So the cheese is gradually starting to melt. Now if this comes out not cheesy enough for you, you can always add more cheese. There's still a whole other half block I didn't use. You could add the entire half or just a quarter of it, or just go until you think it's good. And here we are. It has obtained the consistency of thick soup, and at this point when all your cheese is melted, you can go ahead and call it quits. It is done and ready to serve. And here's our final product, the Rotel Cheese Dip. I got it placed in a small bowl, and I got it lined with some chips. And let's go ahead and try it. So, you know, we've been doing this channel for, I think, close to 5 years, if not 5. And something I only recently noticed is we're a cooking channel. We show you how to make things, but we never really eat the stuff that we make on camera. I don't know if this was an oversight or something we didn't think about, but I just realized this after all this time. So, let's go ahead and try it. Now, we got the dip. I'm going to go ahead and get some on a chip. That's really creamy. It was just half a block of Velveeta, and a cat is spazzing with the light post. But anyway, with just half a block of Velveeta, a pound of hamburger, and 1 can of Rotel, it's very thick and very creamy. If you want a thinner Rotel Cheese Dip, maybe use 2/5 of the whole length of a Rotel, or maybe like 12 ounces instead of the full 16. But it's also nice and warm with a hot Rotel. Cat, stop with the light. It is spazzing out over there. Jesus. But yeah, it's nice and warm. Probably some optional stuff is you could throw in some fresh onion if you want. You could probably throw in some fresh peppers, like fresh jalapenos. I'm real big on that, but I wanted a simpler recipe, so I went ahead and skipped. So anyway, thanks for joining me here today. You can catch us here Tuesdays and Fridays, and oh my god, cat, calm down. Hey, you can catch us here Tuesdays and Fridays, most of the time. Sometimes we may miss a day, stuff happens. Anyway, hope to see you next time. Hope you enjoyed the recipe, and we'll see you again.